Hello, welcome back from the break, and we are going to jump into part two of the episode, the soup du jour.
What is the soup du jour?
Well, it's the soup of the day.
That sounds good. I'll have that.
Nice, we got it down this week. I got too excited. I was like, okay, good. 'Cause last week I was like, I screwed up.
I was dying when I was editing last week's episode. I was just cracking. I forgot that happened, and that caught me off guard.
So thank you for getting our little intro correct, because for our soup du jour of the day, we are playing Keep 5, Cut 5 modern kaiju films. So, Ken, I'll list out some of the ones. I know you threw some of them in the comments already, but I'll list them out right now. So, for this segment, we're trying to choose 5 movies from this list that we decide, okay, those can survive. The other 5, they pretty much suck from our list. So it's kind of like a top 5, but we're really being specific on which ones we don't like. So, and all of them do come from the MonsterVerse. So, first one being Godzilla 2014, the one with Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen. We got Kong Skull Island. Then we got Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong. Talked about that in part 1. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. Definitely talked about that in part 1. Godzilla 1998, that one with Matthew Broderick. I think it was directed by Roland Emmerich. So check out that one if you haven't seen it. It's an interesting watch. Then you got King Kong 2005. I just remember Jack Black being in it. He was doing his own thing. And what's his name? The guy with the nose? He was in Predators.
Tom Cruise? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah. Tom Cruise. Crap. I'm forgetting.
I remember Naomi Watts was in it.
Yeah.
Let me look up the IMDb real quick.
He was the main
Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody.
Yes. That was my perfect description of him. The guy with the nose. Okay, that was
I was
King
like,
Kong.
Owen Wilson?
That's true. He has a nose also. We got King Kong. Then we got Pacific Rim 2013. I forgot Idris Elba was in that movie because I rewatched that movie somewhat recently. I was like, dang, this movie's pretty good. Yeah. Then we've got Pacific Rim Uprising, the sequel to Pacific Rim. Then
with Finn.
With Finn from Star Wars. And then we got Godzilla -1. The only Japanese Godzilla movie in this on this list. So Ken, I'll let you kick us off. We'll alternate, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go. I'll go ahead and keep one, and then keep one, then I'll cut one, and then so on and so forth until I keep 5 and I cut 5. So, yeah. I mean, you talked about the lone Japanese film. A few weeks ago had mentioned. Oh, we had actually revealed our top 5 movies of 2023, and I think it's a no-brainer for me that I got to keep one of the ones that was on that list, Godzilla -1. And so that'll be the first one that I keep. My first cut has to be Godzilla 1998. Yeah, I honestly thought that movie was it was just blah to me. But I think during that time I wasn't really going to movie theaters that much. So at the time I obviously wasn't working. I was still in high school. It was ones where, okay, if I'm going to spend money, it has to be good. I thought it was going to be good, and I was a little let down. So that was maybe if I watch it again now, it's been decades since I've seen it. Maybe I'll bump it up a little bit, but for now, it'll be my first cut.
Ooh.
Okay, the next movie I want to keep, you talked about it. It's the movie starring Idris Elba, Pacific Rim 2013. Because on the flip side of that coin, I gotta cut the other Pacific Rim because that was kind of a letdown following all the good vibes of the first one. I mean, I still kind of liked it. It just wasn't as good. It wasn't nearly as good as Pacific Rim 2013. So Pacific Rim Uprising is my second cut. My third keep has to be, I think it's still my favorite MonsterVerse movie. I gotta say Godzilla 2014.
Ooh. Okay.
So, and then on the flip side of that, I think there's a kind of a pattern to these things because Godzilla King of the Monsters is my next cut. There were some pretty good parts to it. It had a pretty good cast, but again, it dragged in a lot of parts. And it for a movie that had Tywin Lannister and then what was her name? Oh, 11 from
11,
Stranger Things. I mean, she was in Godzilla versus Kong, but wait, who was the one in The Departed again?
Vera
Farmiga.
Farmiga, that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Her mom.
Yeah, the cast should. I felt like the human element should have been better with that good of a cast. I think because I liked all three of the actors there. But Godzilla King of the Monsters is my third cut. I'm surprised that I'm gonna say this right now. My fourth keep is Kong Skull Island. I think I like kind of the creative liberties it took. Plus, that cast was really good. Looking back on it, you had Loki,
True.
you had Captain Marvel, you had the guy with that one detective from the latest Mission Impossible. Hey, John Goodman's in it, among others. That cast was pretty stacked, and for me, also recently going to Hawaii, where they filmed Kong Skull Island. I don't know if that got a little bit of a natural bump up, but yeah, I kind of enjoyed that movie. Surprisingly, it had a killer soundtrack because took place back. I forget the exact time, but I thought it was done pretty good, stylish wise. I don't know if that's a word. Anyway, my fourth cut, King Kong, was way too long.
Oh yeah, that was a long movie.
It was a long movie. I couldn't do it. And so for me now, the two movies that are left are Godzilla versus Kong and Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. I got to go with the movie from 3 years ago. It was the human element was just done better. I genuinely cared more for the Gia character with Eileen Andrews there. I thought the connection was much stronger. And then again, I think we talked about in part one where the two on one that developed in the Hong Kong battle was way more organic. The team up there against Mechagodzilla versus the movie that we just watched in part one, Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, is my last cut.
Yeah, man. Okay. That sounds like an interesting little lineup there. I agree with all your points to a certain degree. My list looks a little bit different. Sean says, oh, sorry, for the wrong one. 98 Godzilla, still don't know how to feel about that T-Rex looking thing. That giant T-Rex thing got stopped by the bridge and missiles. Yeah, it was more of a T-Rex, right? It was more like Jurassic Park, Lost World. Not Lost World. Is that the second one? Or is that the third one?
It's the Lost World, yeah.
The Lost
World's
World.
the second one.
What was the third one called?
Jurassic Park 3. No, seriously.
Like, yeah. Because for some reason I thought Jurassic Park 3 had a.
No, it didn't have a tagline.
Okay. Shoot. All right. Sounds good to me. Sean also says, we don't talk about Uprising. There's only one Pacific Rim. Okay. Then you might not be happy with my list. Because, okay, honestly, I'm going to almost like start from the bottom. I don't have any particular order except for this one. For the longest time, I didn't know whether or not I wanted to keep or cut Pacific Rim Uprising. It's definitely not as good as the first Pacific Rim, but I love mechs, you know, and I don't know, it still gets me. The designs, the action of it, it's definitely not as good.
You're keeping Uprising?
But I am keeping Uprising,
What?
and I'm getting rid of. I am getting rid of Kong Skull Island.
Okay, yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that. That was kind of a tough. That was on my.
I was like, crap, which one do I go to?
Yeah.
Okay, honestly,
I
the
could
only
see
thing holding me back from keeping Kong Skull Island, that it's Kong. If it was like you said, the cast was actually really good. The style of that movie and the music, it's
Mhm.
all good. But I don't really care much for Kong, so I was like, would I rather rewatch Kong or rewatch a Pacific Rim movie? I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with Pacific Rim. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
mine. Next I'm gonna keep Godzilla -1, and I'm gonna get rid of Godzilla King of the Monsters because of all the things that you said. It had the potential. It's a Godzilla standalone movie, and I already said like, "Oh yeah, I need more Godzilla," but I was honestly like, I can't remember anything that happened in that movie. There
Because it
was a
was
bunch of
boring.
monsters. Yeah, it was boring, dude. I don't know what happened. How do you make a Godzilla movie boring?
I know it's pretty bad.
Um. Okay, next movie. I'm keeping Godzilla 2014. Easy. We wanted more Godzilla though, and more
Yes, we
Bryan
do.
Cranston.
Yeah.
But
Oh
I am
man.
getting
Yeah.
rid of Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. From the latest one, definitely doesn't beat the first one in this American franchise. Yeah, for all the reasons that we talked about in part one.
Plus, we got San Francisco
Yeah. See,
and
like,
the Philippines. What?
yeah, it's like no chance. Okay. Next, I have Pacific Rim. I am keeping Pacific Rim,
Okay, no
and
surprises there.
I'm getting rid of King Kong 2005. I
This
honestly,
was
as a kid, I liked Godzilla, or not Godzilla, King Kong, but it gave me like nightmares too. Not saying that's I don't know, but like you said, it drags a lot. The first half of the movie is where they're on like the island with King Kong is actually pretty cool. But after
Mhm.
that, it kind of was like, oh, we're still going. Feels like another movie, but whatever. Then I'm going with my final keep and final cut is Godzilla versus Kong. I am keeping, and I'm also getting rid of Godzilla 1998 for all the reasons that you also said. Action so much better. And
Yeah.
Godzilla 1998, also a childhood movie of mine. I loved that Godzilla, like, okay, not loved, it's kind of weird, but I was always curious of when he laid baby Godzillas in the bottom of Madison Square Garden. I'm like, oh shoot, when's the sequel? Never happened.
Never happened. uh okay, I'm gonna just comment a little bit on an aspect of Godzilla 1998.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back then, one of the major things that didn't really age well in 2024 was the soundtrack, because we don't talk about Diddy anymore. That was a good song in 1998. 2024, he's being canceled, so we don't acknowledge anything related to that movie, especially Diddy.
Jeff says, "Yo, watching from Osaka. Say hi to Godzilla for me."
Yes. Say hi to Bryan Cranston in his body. Stop by see his body.
Dang, got hella dark. Sean says, "Did he say cut King Kong? Actual criminal. Is it? Is it a hot take?
We both said it.
We both said it. Is it a hot take? Is King Kong actually like beloved? This
Nah,
Peter
over,
Jackson film?
it's over bloated. Well, I mean, I remember it took forever to reveal King Kong. It was like the
Like
1.5
in?
or 2 hour mark or something like that. It was like, what the hell?
They treated King Kong like if it's like Titanic, you know that long of a movie, but Titanic, it ramps up. With King Kong, it kind of like peaks in the middle of the movie and then just goes downhill after that.
Sean's
Sean also says, "Keeping Uprising needs to go to jail." Look, man, it's like that's it at the bottom of my list. We had to keep 5. And am I
yeah.
gonna keep Kong Skull Island? I like Loki and Captain Marvel as much as the next guy, but and Samuel L. Jackson was there, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Nick Fury was up in there too, and the
I
guy from
forgot
the
about
Nova
Nick Fury.
Corps. All these Marvel references, but yeah, Uprising. I feel like I still enjoyed it enough.
I
enough.
don't know.
It's like a 60% at this point, and Kong Skull Island's like a 59%. It's that close, man. Honestly, but I'm like, I love the designs better.
Here's my argument. Skull Island versus over Uprising. Uprising had the unenviable task of following Pacific Rim, so there was that expectations. And my God, it didn't come close to expectations. I remember thinking it was dragging, and I was like, wow, I had such high expectations that this movie's not good. And I saw it in theaters because obviously you have to see a movie like that in theaters, right?
That's
Um,
true.
I didn't watch Skull Island until I'm sorry, 3 years ago when we covered our first MonsterVerse movie. And again, I think it was because there was no expectations. I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, have I watched it since? No, but still, I do remember liking that movie more than Uprising. I mean, it's not close or whatever. I mean, it's not too far off, but that's why I have it more. That's why I kept Skull Island, and for sure I cut Uprising like it was nothing. I was like, oh, that's one of my easy cuts.
Oh, interesting. My easy cuts were like Godzilla and King Kong. Godzilla
Yeah,
98, sorry.
98. Yeah,
98. Yeah. And but yeah, I don't know. It's just like those two are at the bottom of my list. Not saying Kong Skull Island was bad because when I did eventually watch it, I didn't watch it in theaters either. But when I did watch it, whenever it came to streaming, it was pretty good.
yeah. My
Pretty good.
my two cuts actually came down to Kong Skull Island. Even though I said I kept it fourth, I just wanted to present it that way. It really was between Kong Skull Island and Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. Those were like fifth and sixth if I was ranking these 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, Sean, if you're have very strong opinions about the keep 5, cut 5 of our list,
Yeah, we want to see it. We want to see it.
type out yours. We'll keep the seat warm for you while you're typing that out.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
hot seat's on you now.
yeah, that's Sean. No pressure. No pressure. I guess while we're waiting, is there any other random thoughts on any of these 10 movies that you kind of want to acknowledge?
Okay. Honestly, I love Godzilla the 2014, and I like Aaron Taylor Johnson, but that movie
Yeah.
should have had more Bryan Cranston. Because spoiler alert for a 10-year-old movie, he dies.
No.
What?
And really early.
And really early in the movie, it's like, oh, you get attached, and he has like this really good motivation with his wife, and he gets
Dude.
then that gets trapped, and she dies. It's like, oh god, and so he has a really cool motivation. Teams up with Aaron Taylor Johnson, his son.
Son.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and then he dies. I'm like, what? They should have had the rest of the movie of them teaming up. Like Aaron Taylor Johnson is the muscle, he's the brains, you know.
I didn't mind that he died, and I didn't mind that he died kind of early. I hated the way he died. He died from injuries off screen. He literally was like, "Oh, he's dead." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, and then they have him on the stretcher,
And they
cover
just
his
zipped him
body.
up. I was like, "What the freak?"
What? Yeah, exactly. The way they killed him. It's like,
The way he
come
killed him.
on.
I was like, Walter White deserves better.
Yeah, but dude, the scene in Godzilla when they're the Marines or something, or the armies, skydiving, doing the halo jump around Godzilla. Dang, we need more shots like that.
Uh,
So I think Gareth Edwards was the director, right?
I
So
think he
in
was.
Breaking
Yeah.
Bad,
Yeah.
Last Jedi, he had vision. He had basically he's able to capture that grandness of Godzilla and that world.
Uh-huh.
When I watch Godzilla X Kong New Empire, it feels like everything's so like zoomed out. It's like we're not in the action. We're not in the thick of it as like that first Godzilla. I would love for them to go back into that style because Monarch, the show, the 2 episodes that I watched, were definitely much more in the style of the first Godzilla.
Yeah. I actually need to finish that. I might do a full MonsterVerse like rewatch, but with Monarch in there. Because again, I've only also watched the first 2 episodes as well. I think timeline wise, it goes Godzilla. Well, technically, Kong Skull Island's before
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
I might watch it in chronological order actually instead of re- theatrical release order. But
Yeah, that'd
anyway,
probably work.
yeah, so it would be Skull Island, then Godzilla, 2014, and then Monarch, right? Into King of the Monsters.
Yeah. Then you can fall asleep to King of the Monsters.
Well,
Honestly,
at least Godzilla versus Kong will wake me up a little bit.
yeah. King of the Monsters, man, had so much potential.
I
The
know.
visuals look pretty cool.
Had a good villain, Ghidorah.
Mm-hmm. Sean says, I mean, can I throw in some movies that haven't been mentioned? I guess. I mean, I don't know.
I
Kind
mean,
of playing with that outside the
we're
rules here.
I know we're keeping 5 and cutting 5. We already have 10 movies.
It's like, I don't know. Can you have 11 movies? I mean, what what other
Keep
movies did
6
we?
and cut 5. That, I don't know. It
Yeah,
doesn't have the
I don't
same ring
know.
to it.
Exactly. I mean, you
Come on, Sean.
could. I don't know. We basically we chose these movies for a reason because some of them are right that middle line, like Kong Skull Island, right? It could be like above, could be below. But I'm curious on what other kaiju movies did you have in mind? Are we talking freaking Gundam up in here, or I'm curious. I mean, you could
Yeah.
throw them out like just to see what we think of them. That would be fun.
Yeah, and if you want to still list them, go ahead. I'm kind of curious now about throwing out some movies that we haven't mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess while we wait, it's crazy. It's still crazy to me that Godzilla minus one did all of that visually on a $15 million budget.
It's insane. That's why I won the Oscar, man. It's crazy to me how Jacob,
God.
who's been on the podcast before,
Mhm.
said that it looks weird, and I love the visuals of Godzilla
Mhm.
minus one. Yeah, he looks weird, but I think he's meant to look like it's a style choice of how
Mhm.
Godzilla doesn't like blink and he's just kind of staring.
Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, that's super creepy. And Godzilla was just like a villain in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he was
mean,
scary.
obvious. Yeah. I mean, it was what all related to the World War II radiation, right?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
that atomic bomb, and that was pretty crazy that we were coming off of Oppenheimer too. So it's just like, ah, man, it was like an indirect sequel to Oppenheimer.
It is, yeah, man. Oppenheimer also, destroyer of worlds. He also created Godzilla, destroyer
Mm,
of all other titans.
yes. But yeah, I'm still waiting for that to come out in for streaming because man, I do want to give it a second watch because I just know that I probably missed a few things. Obviously, when we watched it. Wait, did they have a dubbed version or was it strictly subbed?
From what I saw in theaters, it was just subbed. I don't remember a
Okay.
dubbed version in theaters.
Okay. Okay.
One thing I wanted to mention, but that I didn't mention in part one, was that I was looking at the, you know, 10 movies that we were looking at. Pacific Rim has such a good soundtrack, and so does Godzilla Minus One. The themes in that movie, and like you said,
Yeah.
coming out of Godzilla X Kong New Empire, they didn't even play the Godzilla theme. I was like,
I know.
no.
I know. I think we got spoiled by Godzilla Minus One, especially because they literally kept playing it. Where to the point where I just kept humming along every time they played it. They probably played it at least a half a dozen times.
Yeah, they did, but it never got old, man. And they
Didn't.
chose the perfect times to play Godzilla's theme.
Dun, 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 dun,
Got me hyped, man.
dun. Yeah. Hey, we got
Okay,
we
yeah.
we got a list. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Okay, Sean says, I want to include Godzilla 2014, and this would have been a perfect lineup because the rest can disappear.
Oh,
Keep Godzilla versus Kong, okay. Pacific Rim, Godzilla Minus One, King Kong, oh, and Skull Island.
so
Okay.
he ended up cutting Godzilla 2014. What are you doing, man?
It's like, how would you? You got rid of Bryan Cranston, dude.
Oh man.
With all 20 minutes of him, or 10 minutes of him. So wow, okay, got rid of 2014. It's not the worst thing. I would think Skull Island definitely has more of that Titan action than Godzilla 2014, to be fair to
Mhm,
Sean.
mhm.
But I love the setting of 2014 also. And
Yeah.
Skull Island, they're just different. But King Kong versus Godzilla 2014, I think maybe that's where you have me. But fair enough. King Kong, I don't remember how long that movie was.
Mhm.
It's like you gotta watch it in 2 sittings type of thing.
I think I was close to 3 hours.
Yeah.
It didn't warrant that runtime.
Yeah, it felt like 4 hours to me. And he
Yeah.
says, Sean says, nah, I know y'all remember Cloverfield. To be honest, I did not watch Cloverfield.
I have not watched it. That's why I didn't include it
Is
in the keep five, cut five. Sorry, but yeah, I do remember seeing it listed on certain lists related to this. As far as
I
kaiju,
want to watch 10 Cloverfield Lane though. I heard
Mhm.
that one's a good one. Because I heard
uh,
Cloverfield, that's J.J. Abrams, right? Not J.J. Abrams. Where is it?
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves. I wonder what he can't direct superhero movies. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Matt Reeves directed the
Dun,
Batman.
dun, dun, dun,
So,
dun.
I need okay. Cloverfield, might have to check that one out.
Yeah,
So,
same.
if you were to put Cloverfield on your list, Sean, would you get rid of who would you get rid of in place of Cloverfield? I'm curious
Mhm.
because I want to watch it now.
Yeah, let's see if it's streaming anywhere. Currently
Cloverfield.
on MGM Plus. What the hell is MGM Plus? Why is
It's
that a
like it
streaming
wasn't
service?
MGM bought out by somebody, by like Amazon.
Amazon, maybe. I think you're right.
I think the only reason why I know that because I think it's like a lot of the RoboCop movies ended up on Amazon or at some point.
I think I only remember because I think we talked about it on an episode of the newsreel.
Yeah,
It was
way
it was
back when.
it was a slow news day.
Talk about being MGM game bought out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it mainly. I think it was the Bond movies that
Oh, right.
were. I was like, ooh, all Bond movies on Prime. I'm all in. I think I still remember that episode.
Man.
Oh man,
Probably two seasons ago at this point.
at least maybe even more.
Yeah. Time escapes me at this point.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
All right. Maybe Sean fell asleep. All right, man. Well, Sean, let us know in the comments. But Ken, let's finish off. We've been trying to watch new stuff, like off off stream, I hope. And what's the one last thing you might want to suggest our listening audience to go check out?
We like to be transparent here on the Weekly Reel podcast. Literally, I did not have anything new up until an hour and a half before our live stream. I somehow snuck in something new for this segment just for you guys. The one last thing that I want to recommend, I watched one full episode. I finished the episode of The Gentleman, which is that Guy Ritchie series that's on Netflix, and it's starring Theo James. He was actually most recently prominent on season 2 of The White Lotus, and our favorite Gus Fring, Giancarlo Esposito. The Gentleman first episode was crazy. I was like, oh yeah, no, it was good. I enjoyed it. There was a lot going on. Only because I was trying to think of things on the podcast. I probably missed some very minor things. I was like, oh shoot. So I'll probably have to rewatch the first episode again. And it's like an 8-episode first season. I double checked. So, and they're about an hour-ish each. But I'm all in on The Gentleman. I thought it was good. I won't say any more because I don't want to give any spoilers.
Okay, because I also want to watch The Gentleman, and
yeah,
I do want to watch it. Still trying to finish Brooklyn Nine-Nine, at least the first 4 seasons, and then
I almost started it, but I was, oh man, I think Jeremy mentioned it already, or someone mentioned it, and I was like,
okay, that's a good one. And dude, when you mentioned Theo James and on The Ritual, I remember talking about The Time Traveler's Wife, and there were 6 episodes, and I love that show so much on HBO Max. Not sponsored, definitely not sponsored because they canceled it.
Oh, that's right.
I was like, I was so mad.
You were shilling for that one.
I was like, HBO Max sucks now. Max, you bastards. Time Traveler's Wife, I need to see what happens, and I guess I'll never see what happens, and Theo James is never going to go back to the past.
Do you think streaming platform will pick it up? Netflix or so?
I think it was canceled in like the middle of 2022, I think.
Never say never, man. I still need to get caught up on a show that we both started, Warrior. I mean, that got dropped by Max and then picked up by Netflix. So, I mean, there is a precedence for other streaming platforms to pick up certain IPs.
Yeah. Man, Time Traveler's Wife. You never would expect it from me, but
I expect it.
But my movie I want to bring though is the sequel to the one movie I still been needing Ken to watch. Searching is the first movie, but the new one that I watched was Missing on Netflix. Another pretty good movie. It's not as good as Searching, but the twists and turns, and I don't mind the whole like screen stuff that they do during that movie, but yeah, it was pretty good. Not bad of a movie.
I remember this came out in early 2023, and it was one of those where it was a surprising hit. I actually wanted to watch it in theaters because I was, for this podcast, I wanted to make an effort to try to get to platinum. I mean, I ended up getting to platinum, but I was a little bummed out that I never got a chance to watch Missing in theaters. So maybe I might do a double feature on, was it Searching and then Missing?
Yes. You need to watch Searching first for sure, because there's actually spoilers in Missing.
Oh, okay. I'm glad I didn't watch Missing then.
Yes.
I forget that you mentioned that they were related.
They're related. They happen in the same universe.
Yeah. Okay.
But I won't say more than that.
Okay. Let me see. Oh,
yeah, Sean.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Sean says y'all need to watch Cloverfield. He says it's beating King Kong. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better
Mm.
about my life. He also says because the style it was filmed make it look like it was all handheld camera POV. Okay, that could be hit or miss in terms of that style. I like some others, you know,
Oh,
like Chronicle, that movie that was interesting the way they filmed it. It was interesting, but I don't know if I liked it too much.
mm.
But yeah, you were saying, Ken?
Oh, I was gonna mention that found searching. It's streaming on Stars, and I don't have Stars, so I'm kind of pissed off.
Dang it!
Why?
Why
I'll rent it or something.
who watches Stars? Us, because we're sponsored. No, I'm just kidding. If they want to sponsor us, then we can go check it out.
Well, sponsor us with a free subscription.
Yeah, at least
That's all
so
I
we can
want.
watch your stuff, man.
Yeah, that way
Uh,
we could plug your stuff. Shoot.
all right. Thank you, everyone, for joining in on the Soup du Jour and talking about all the kaiju movies with us. Sean, thank you for putting your list out there as well. That was very brave of you. I'm just kidding.
We
And
appreciate it for sure. We love the
we do.
interactions.
It's almost like we
So,
have a third person here on the pod. So
mhm.
appreciate it.
Yes, we did.
Yes, but next week we're gonna come up with another topic to talk about for the soup du jour. You'll have to wait for that. And next week we're gonna be talking about Monkey Man, starring Dev Patel. So until then, we'll see you in 1 week.
Well, I might be busy. Why don't we make it 7 days? Okay, fine. 1 week.
Yes, we will see you 1 week on the real.